In the heart of Punjab, there was a small village named Rajgarh, where golden fields stretched as far as the eye could see. Among the farmers who toiled the land was Arjun, a hard-working man who had inherited his ancestors' fertile farmland. His family had cultivated this land for generations, and it provided them with everything they needed: a comfortable home, abundant crops, and a deep connection to their roots. Arjun was proud of his land, but he often heard stories of people who had left for foreign lands, earning in dollars and living in cities full of skyscrapers and luxury. His childhood friend, Ramesh, had moved to Canada a few years ago and would send pictures of his new life: fancy cars, lavish houses, and grand parties. "You are wasting your life in this village, Arjun," Ramesh often told him over phone calls. "Come to Canada. There's real success here." At first, Arjun laughed it off, but the idea slowly took root in his mind. He started feeling restless. His hands were calloused from years of farming, and though he never lacked anything, the promise of a life filled with wealth tempted him. One day, an agent came to the village, offering a solution. "Sell your land," he told Arjun. "Use that money to move abroad. Once you're there, you'll earn so much that you won't even remember this place." Arjun hesitated. His parents had worked tirelessly to preserve this land, and it was more than just soil, it was their identity. But the dreams of a luxurious life clouded his judgment. Against the wishes of his aging father, he sold his fields at a high price and set off for Canada with his wife and son. The harsh reality. When Arjun arrived in Canada, he was dazzled by the lights, the tall buildings, and the fast-paced life. But soon, reality struck. The promised well-paying jobs weren't easy to get. With no high qualifications or local experience, Arjun had to settle for working at a factory. His wife, who once walked freely through the open fields of Punjab, now spent her days working in a department store. The winters were harsh, nothing like the warm sun of Rajgarh. Life felt mechanical. Back home, he was respected as a landowner, but here, he was just another immigrant struggling to make ends meet. Calls from his village became less frequent, and when they did come, his father's voice sounded weaker each time. One evening, as he scrolled through his phone, he came across a video of Rajgarh's farmlands. His old land had been converted into a shopping complex, and the golden fields were gone forever. He felt an ache in his heart. He had sold something priceless for a life that now felt empty. Regret and realization. Years passed, and though Arjun earned in dollars, he never felt rich. He realized that wealth wasn't just money, it was the feeling of belonging, of waking up to the chirping birds in his village, of watching his crops grow under the golden sun. When his father passed away, Arjun returned to India for the funeral. As he walked through the village, he felt like a stranger. The land that once belonged to his family was now owned by someone else. The home where he had grown up was abandoned, covered in dust. He stood in silence, overwhelmed by regret. An old neighbor walked up to him and sighed, "Arjun, you had the sun in your hands, but you sold it for a candle that flickers in the wind." Tears welled up in his eyes. He had left behind everything that truly mattered for a dream that wasn't his own. If only he had realized sooner that real success wasn't in foreign lands, it was in the happiness of living where his heart belonged. Moral: don't sell the sun to buy a candle. Never trade what's truly valuable, your roots, your family, and your happiness, for temporary illusions of success.